The talented West Indies star who could have been cricket's next big thing ended up in tragedy. Discover Runako Morton's rise, fall, and heartbreaking final chapter. The story of Runako Shakur Morton is one of cricket's most heartbreaking tales. Born on July 22, 1978, in Nevis, this Nevisian cricketer played for West Indies in all formats of the game. Morton was a naturally gifted right-handed batsman who also bowled right-arm off-spin. His cricket journey was filled with promise, controversy, and ultimately ended in tragedy when he was just 33 years old. The story of what happened to Runako Morton reveals the darker side of professional cricket and shows how talent alone isn't enough to guarantee success or happiness. Morton's early cricket career showed incredible promise. He was a player who could change games with his batting and was seen as someone who could solve West Indies cricket's batting problems. His natural ability with the bat made him stand out from other young cricketers in the Caribbean. However, his personality was described as lively and often unpredictable, which would later become both his strength and his biggest weakness. The first major setback in Morton's career came early. In July 2001, Morton was expelled from the West Indian Cricketing Academy for bad behavior. This was a huge blow for someone so young and talented. Being kicked out of the Cricket Academy meant losing access to top-level coaching, training facilities, and the structured environment that young cricketers need to develop their skills. Despite this setback, he continued to play for the Leeward Islands in the Buster Cup, showing his determination to keep his cricket dreams alive. Morton got a second chance when in February 2002, he was called into the West Indies squad as a replacement for Marlon Samuels. This was exactly the opportunity he needed to prove that his academy expulsion was just a youthful mistake. However, his problems with discipline continued. He was dropped once again when he lied about his non-appearance in the ICC Champions Trophy. Lying to team management about missing an important tournament showed a serious lack of professionalism and damaged his reputation even further. Despite these early problems, Morton eventually managed to break into the West Indies team properly. His Test debut came against Sri Lanka at Colombo on July 13-16, 2005, and his ODI debut was against Pakistan at Sharjah on February 15, 2002. Finally getting his chance to play international cricket was the moment Morton had worked for his entire life. It represented hope that he could put his disciplinary problems behind him and focus on what he did best, playing cricket. Morton's international career statistics tell the story of a player who never quite fulfilled his potential. He played 15 tests and 56 ODIs for West Indies over 8 years, but was unable to win a regular place in the side, largely because of the controversies he was embroiled in. He also played 7 2020 internationals, last playing for the West Indies in a 2020 against Australia in 2010. These numbers show a career that was stop-start, with Morton never getting the consistent run of games that batting specialists need to build confidence and improve their technique. Looking at his batting numbers, Morton scored 573 test runs and 1,519 ODI runs. He had a better record as a one-day player, scoring 1,519 runs at an average of 33.75 with 2 centuries and 10 50s. While these aren't terrible numbers, they're not outstanding either, especially for someone with Morton's natural talent. In first-class cricket, he had a good record, scoring 5,180 runs at an average just shy of 40, which shows he could perform well at domestic level, but struggled to transfer that success to international cricket. There were moments when Morton showed flashes of his true ability. One standout performance was an unbeaten 85 against India, which demonstrated the class and skill that made selectors keep giving him chances despite his off-field problems. However, there were not enough such performances to earn a sustained run in the team. This inconsistency was one of the main reasons why Morton never established himself as a regular in the West Indies team. The reasons for Morton's struggles went beyond just performance on the field. A volatile temperament that repeatedly led him into trouble, allied to technical defects, limited Morton's success at the highest level. Having both technical problems with his batting and personality issues was a double burden that Morton found difficult to overcome. Cricket at the international level demands mental toughness and consistency, and Morton's temperament worked against him in pressure situations. Morton's career was blotted by disciplinary breaches, which became a recurring theme throughout his time in cricket. These weren't just minor issues. They were serious enough to repeatedly cost him his place in teams and damage his reputation within West Indies cricket. Each disciplinary problem made it harder for him to get selected and reduce the patience that coaches and selectors had with his performances. The controversies continued even after Morton had established himself in the West Indies team. In March 2011, Morton made his comeback to controversy by getting arrested along with his teammate Tonito Willett for possession of marijuana after a 4-day match between Trinidad and Tobago and Leeward Islands. This arrest came just a year before his death and showed that his problems with discipline had never really been resolved. Both players were released on bail after the bail amount was paid by the West Indies Players Association, WIPA, but the damage to Morton's reputation was significant. There were later clashes with the law. A year before his death, he and fellow Nevisian Tonito Willett were charged by the TNT police with possession of marijuana, an accusation to which they pleaded not guilty. This legal trouble added another layer of stress to Morton's already complicated life. Professional athletes are expected to be role models, and these legal issues made it even more difficult for cricket authorities to support his career. Despite all his problems, people who knew Morton spoke about his potential for change. Friends reported that marriage to a Trinidadian woman and bringing up their 3 children had given him stability and purpose. Family life seemed to be providing the structure and motivation that Morton had been missing throughout his cricket career. This gave hope that he might finally be able to overcome his personal demons and focus on cricket. The tragic end to Morton's story came suddenly and unexpectedly. On Sunday, March 4, 2012, Runako Morton, the West Indies batsman, died in a road accident, police confirmed. Morton, 33, crashed into a utility pole on the Solomon Hachoy Highway in Chase Village in central Trinidad. He was on his way home from a cricket match and was the sole occupant of the vehicle. The irony that he died returning from playing the sport he loved makes his death even more tragic. The accident occurred at around 11 p.m. local time, and there were no other people in the car with Morton. The entire West Indies mourned as Runako. Morton died on 4th March 2012 in a road accident where he lost control of the car and smashed into a utility pole in central Trinidad. The loss of a 33-year-old athlete in his prime shocked the cricket world and highlighted how fragile life can be. The reaction to Morton's death showed how much people in cricket still cared about him despite his problems. Tributes flooded in for former West Indies Test player Runako Morton, who was killed in a car crash in Trinidad Sunday. These tributes came from teammates, opponents, fans, and cricket officials who recognized that Morton was fundamentally a good person who had struggled with personal demons throughout his career. Morton was one of the few players from the tiny Caribbean island of Nevis to represent the West Indies at international level. This made his achievements even more significant, and his loss more keenly felt by people from his home island. For a small island like Nevis, having someone represent them in international cricket was a source of enormous pride. And Morton's death represented the loss of their biggest sporting hero. The tragedy of Morton's story goes beyond just his personal struggles. He represented the challenges that many talented athletes face when dealing with pressure, expectations, and personal problems. Professional sport can be incredibly demanding, mentally and emotionally. And not everyone has the support systems or coping mechanisms needed to handle these pressures successfully. Morton's career highlights the importance of mental health support and personal development programs for young athletes. His early expulsion from the academy and subsequent disciplinary problems might have been prevented with better guidance and support. Modern cricket has much better player welfare programs, partly because of lessons learned from cases like Morton's. The financial pressures facing Caribbean cricketers also played a role in Morton's story. Unlike players from richer cricket countries, West Indies cricketers often struggle financially and may not have access to the same support systems. This can create additional stress and may lead some players to make poor decisions in their personal lives. Morton's inconsistent international career meant that he never secured the financial stability that comes with being a regular in the team. In the span of 8 years, he managed only 15 tests and 56 ODIs, largely thanks to his inconsistency and disciplinary issues. This stop-start career pattern made it difficult for him to plan for the future or build the kind of financial security that might have reduced some of the pressures in his life. The technical problems with Morton's batting also contributed to his struggles. While he had natural talent, international cricket demands constant improvement and adaptation. Players need to work continuously on their technique, fitness, and mental approach to stay competitive. Morton's disciplinary problems may have prevented him from getting the coaching and support he needed to address his technical weaknesses. Cricket is also a game where confidence plays a huge role in performance. Morton's off-field problems and inconsistent selection would have damaged his confidence, creating a cycle where poor personal decisions led to cricket problems, which then created more stress and pressure in his personal life. Breaking this cycle requires professional help and strong support systems. The impact of Morton's story extends beyond just cricket. His life shows how talent and opportunity aren't enough without the right personal foundation and support systems. Many young athletes face similar challenges, and Morton's story serves as both a warning and a reminder of the importance of addressing personal problems before they become overwhelming. Morton's legacy in cricket is complicated. While he never achieved his potential as a player, his story has helped cricket authorities understand the importance of player welfare and support systems. Modern cricket invests much more heavily in helping players with personal problems and providing the kind of guidance that might have helped Morton. For people from Nevis and the wider Caribbean, Morton remains a complex figure. He achieved something remarkable by representing the West Indies in international cricket, but his personal struggles and tragic death serve as a reminder of the pressures that come with sporting success. His story continues to be told as both inspiration and warning for young cricketers. The mystery around some aspects of Morton's personal life adds to the tragic nature of his story. While his cricket career and major controversies are well documented, the private struggles that led to his problems are less well known. This privacy means that the full story of what happened to Runako Morton may never be completely understood. What is clear is that Morton was a talented cricketer who struggled with personal demons throughout his career. His death at just 33 years old represents not just the loss of sporting potential, but the tragedy of a life that ended before its problems could be resolved. The talented West Indian batsman Runako Morton could have achieved greatness, but he had several controversies over his career. The story of Runako Morton serves as a reminder that behind every sports statistic is a human being dealing with real-world problems and pressures. His tale of unfulfilled potential and tragic end continues to resonate with cricket fans and serves as an important lesson about the need to support athletes both on and off the field. While we can only speculate about what might have been, Morton's story remains one of cricket's most poignant reminders of the fragility of life and the importance of getting help when struggling with personal problems. Subscribe to discover more tragic cricket stories and learn about the hidden struggles behind the game's biggest stars.